Welcome to the Courage to Success podcast. Today is a very personal episode for me. And the theme is about balancing personal loss and grief and business responsibilities. This episode today is about a special dear person that's close to my heart. Her birthday was a couple of days ago, on the 12th of June, and it was the first birthday that we celebrated without her. And that special person is my mother. It took me a lot of courage to record this episode. My mother passed away in the beginning of February, and what's the reason for this episode? I'm asking myself, why did I want to do this? On one side, I want to celebrate her. And on another side, I want to talk about life. And this is part of life. Often we want to ignore it, to not share it, to pretend that everything is fine. What is loss? What is grief? There are experts on it. Am I an expert? No. I haven't studied grief. I didn't went to university. I'm not a counselor. But I'm a human. But I have a human experience. My mother was a strong person. She had a strong spirit. Really. Unbeatable. Such a brave woman. My mother had some serious health problems. She had multiple sclerosis. It's a long-lasting chronic disease of the central nervous system. It's an autoimmune disorder, a condition in which the body attacks itself by mistake. They say MS is a disease with 1,000 faces, and it can cause some serious disability. And it did. Throughout the years, her condition got worse, and the last couple of days have been really hard for her and for us. Seeing a person that you care about practically falling apart, where you ask yourself, what else? What else is there? Throughout this journey, my mother was brave. She kept going. She kept looking for solutions. And we did find different solutions. Some of them helped the disease to slow down the progression of it. Some of them helped managing the MS symptoms, but then it progressed. And the last year was difficult because I don't know how I could explain this, but there are moments where I couldn't watch her being in that state. I don't know where she found the braveness and the calmness to endure it. She wouldn't complain. She had ways of dealing with it, and we had our ways of supporting her, of caretaking, of what she needed or what she wanted. And some of the fun things that we used to do, I was my mother's personal hairdresser for many, many years. But up until the last days. So I helped her. I was cutting her hair, coloring her hair. My mother loved fashion. She loved life. She loved living life. And it was difficult for us to see her in this condition that would, bit by bit, slowly but surely, reduce her mobility. And from one health condition, it turned into several more. The last year was an intense one. There were a lot of hospital visits, procedures, ERs, where you didn't know what was happening, what was going on. She's going to make it or not. And when she was in a good state, we talked about life and death and the willingness to live. And there are moments when she said, when I tell you that I don't want this anymore, you're going to bring me to the country, to a different country. And I know what she was meaning. We had conversations around it. And on my way back home, I would think about it. Like, is she serious? And I know she is. And I cannot blame her. So in moments, I felt sad and I felt angry. Sad that I agree with her that if I was in her shoes, I don't know that I would be able to keep going like she did. I would have given up much earlier. And the balance, we strive for balance. There is no balance. And when life hits you, it hits you deep and hard. Not when you want it, not when you have time, not when you are available, not when you have the capacity to deal with it. When it's the right time, it's never the right time. I wanted her to be here with my life journey for many more years, but she had other plans. And strangely enough, so when I look at the last year, I'll give you two different perspectives. When I look at the last year at my business grew. Strangely, it grew. But that came down to the processes and the things that I have done prior. So I was reaping the rewards of that. The last year was intense on many levels. And I was then looking also, I knew that it's going to be hard. There was a moment where it turned in the way of we were all managing things. We were all dealing with things, helping, supporting, going to the doctors, the different procedures, changing medication, doing for all the different ways of how we can support her. But there was a moment last year where I was afraid and I felt this is serious. Right now, this is serious. And what was difficult about that moment is the way, I'll say, hospitals or doctors treat patients when they have multiple health conditions. It's like nothing. I don't know how to explain this, but it's like there isn't much to do, or there is no willingness to do it. So, in certain instances, I had to fight for my mother, that in those serious moments she couldn't speak. I did not know what she had. I did not know what happened. They were asking me. They were asking me, what does she have? How should I know? And those moments were difficult. Where you see, the care system is broken. And for me personally, there was also that one moment where it hit me. I have good systems in my business. I have good systems of taking care of myself, of looking at things and how I can make things easier for me, how to take breaks. Luckily, my business allows me to structure things around it. Not always, but most of the time. So I could take my work to my sister's place and work from home. Not only work from home at my sister's place, and I didn't need it to be here in Frankfurt. So that was, later on I realized that as a luxury, that I had the possibility to do it. And I took as much time as I could from work and worked around it so that I could be of support to her. Last year, late summer, I had a car accident. And there was the moment when I realized that I was riding high in commitments on work, on taking care, making sure how I can support us all through all of this. And strangely enough, on that day, that afternoon, I was on my way to a lake to meet some friends to relax because I needed it. Luckily, nothing happened. Nobody was injured, just the cars. And this is where I started to look for things to take off my plate. I've started taking new clients and new work commitments. Yet I was still eager to do the things that I wanted to do. But that was the first sign. And the other sign was end of June. I signed up to deliver a teaching in Germany for a program. But on that week, I was in the US, Nashville, for a mastermind. It was, and the time difference, I wasn't even thinking. I don't know what I was thinking, but the time difference was huge. And the teaching that I needed to deliver was early in the morning. And I couldn't get myself to bring into a certain state, but I didn't notice it. I noticed it afterwards. So I did deliver the training. I didn't like how I delivered it. They didn't like how I delivered it. So what have I learned about this? Learning to say no, although we have said yes before, because things have changed. And I was trying to be reliable no matter what. But what was the cause of it? It wasn't worth it. The last couple of days with my mother, I had a last meal with her. So the meal that we had, when I was little, we would go out usually, and she would bring us to go out for shopping. So we would, or me and my sister, we would look for things, then we would go to something to eat, and then we'll decide if we wanted to buy something or not. And there was a period of time where I would eat chicken nuggets and fries. And that was everything that I ate when I was a child, when we would go to shopping. So our last meal, we were driving, we were going somewhere, and this is what she wanted to eat. And we shared that last meal together. And my mother is a lover of life. She loves life. She loves fashion. She likes to enjoy herself, to eat something when she was in good health. Even when she wasn't. Those moments were the moments that she would cherish and really enjoy. So every time we will go out, we will go somewhere to eat. She'll have a coffee or a beer, and she will light a cigarette. She's the type of person that, smokes. every day, but it was the occasional moments that she did. And she reminded me so many times of my grandmother, her mother. And there was a saying or phrase that she always used to say. So she would light up a cigarette. She would just, light it up. She wouldn't really smoke it. And my grandfather would ask, like, why are you smoking? You're not even smoking. And she said, and she would respond to him, better that the cigarette is burning than I am. So she had those lines and one-liners and phrases that would make you think, what does the poet want to say? She knew what she wanted to say. And my mother kept sort of that tradition, like drinking coffee in my family is spending time with each other and talking. I'm not a coffee drinker per se. I don't need coffee to wake up, but I love to drink coffee when I talk to someone, when we go to have a deep conversation. So how do you live, cope, experience the process of loss and grief? What is the impact that it has on your business? So for me, the work that I do, I work with humans. And I've learned a way how to not drain myself by other people's energies, but to focus on the things that bring me joy, fulfillment, and accomplishment. So anything that I could get out of my way, I did. With people that would help me. Sometimes when I couldn't do the work of how I wanted to do the work, colleagues have stepped in, and I'm truly grateful for them. So I want you to think about the support system that you need and that your business can give you when you are in a situation like this. Can be a challenging situation in your personal life. And think about what are the processes that I can create that can help me to sustain my business, to keep the work, or to deliver the work, or what other ways I could deliver the work. Because when I tell you the balancing or the challenge of balancing it, that is a failed attempt. There is no way to balance it out. Because that state, you never prepared for that state. It will consume you. It will have impact on your mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health. Sometimes you won't sleep. Sometimes your mind will be in a state where you ask yourself, like, where are you? What is going on? And what is the way and how you can listen to yourself and the needs that you have to go through it, to endure it. And in certain moments, you need a lot of courage to not quit, to not run away, to not hide. Look for ways and how you can support yourself. For some of you is a conversation with somebody else. For some of you it's a conversation with the person. You know how they ask you, or when somebody passes away and they ask you, is there something that you wish you have said them? And I can say, I don't. Because I said everything that I needed to say. We had an open dialogue about all the things. Was it easy? No, it wasn't. Talking about, life, death with your mother? No, it wasn't. But what I can say is that I'm truly happy that I decided to be part of her life as much as I could. In the last phases, I don't have any remorse. I don't have any doubts. And the cocktail of emotions that just comes in waves. Sometimes there are waves of happiness and joy when I think about what am I taking with me, and what has she taught me, or what has her life experience taught me. What is the sadness about? And the other piece of it, when you are sad that the person is not there anymore, that you wished it was, and finding comfort in that. When I think about my mother's condition, it was a horrible condition for any human being to be in. And I am happy that she isn't suffering anymore. But am I sad? Yes, I am. Because I wished and hoped that she would be for many more years to stay with us. And in those challenging moments, we seek control. We'll look at certainty. What can we control? What can we not control? So the only control that I had was about my business. How much am I willing to spend time in my business? How much time am I going to give to caretaking of my mother and supporting her? And what are the things that I cannot control? I cannot control her condition. Sometimes I wanted to be of help, or we wanted to be of help, but we couldn't. As they say, that MS is a disease with 1,000 different faces. I've seen many, and it's astonishing how much pain and suffering a person can endure through all of it. And to give you an example how I made decisions on what to prioritize, I was looking at things when I would be most useful to her and to my sister, and to be in those moments there. And sometimes just being there was enough. Sometimes being there wasn't enough. And you're trying to make the right decision. But the right decision is not always available. So the journey of losing someone that you love and grieving that person, you're not only grieving what was, but you're also grieving what could be, what should be, what you wanted it to be. And in moments you catch yourself with thinking as the person was still there. And how do you let go of it? I think you don't let go. Like for me, what I can say is, whether she is physically here or not, I still talk to her. I still have access to her. I feel her spirit, and I know that I can reach out. But for the ego, that isn't enough. It always looks for proof. It looks for ways. And it wants something that it cannot get. So what helped me coming to terms with this whole situation was slowly by slowly allowing it to reach me, allowing me to realize what truly is and what isn't. And what I have learned in all of it is to look even closer into my own life, into my own business, and really examine, how do I want to lead my business? How do I want to live? And am I really living the way that I want to? And if not, what would that look like? And that process is not linear. I invite you to be gentle and to be curious with yourself. You are the expert on your life and your life experience. There isn't a specific way how to deal with it, but there is yours. And I invite you to think about, how do you want to navigate it? I'll share some strategies with you that are helping me when I think about, what would my mother want me to be? What does she want for me? And what is the life lesson that she has taught me? And what is the life lesson that her life is teaching me about my own life? And being curious around those moments and fragments that come up to the surface, to be seen, to be heard, to be understood, loved, cared. Be gentle with yourself. Create a support system with people around you that can help you with finding your process, finding your way. And in regards to your business, what are the things that you have control over? Are certain things temporarily? What things can be shifted, can be changed, modified? What is the system that you can create, and who can help you create it? Because sometimes we want to do it all by ourselves, but that's not what life is about. That's not what the journey is about. So before how, who can help you with the how? Wish you a beautiful rest of the day. And one last thought before I let you go. Ask yourself, who do you want to be? Now, because of this, what is the impact that it has on you, your life, and your business? What truly matters now? Sit with it. Be compassionate, gentle, curious. Listen to your thoughts, your sensation, your body, your voice, your demeanor. It will start showing it yourself and showing you the way. I'm sending you strength, support, and above all, courage. Courage is calling. Do you hear it?